If you are a homeowner or a business owner that has a sump pump in your building, your home, it's something that you want to definitely test regularly. We recommend testing the operation of the sump pump ideally before the spring rains or the snow melt time. That is typically when we have the highest water table in the area or in the home. It's very easy to test your sump pump by finding the container. It's usually sunken in the floor. It's typically about 2 feet or less in diameter and about 2 or 3 feet deep. We refer to that as the sump pump pit. Inside that pit you'll have a sump pump. Sometimes you'll have a pump where the motor is above the pit. It's called a column pump. But either way, this is the sump pump that protects your home, your basement from flooding. The way to test that simply is taking a hose or maybe buckets of water and pouring that into the sump pump until you raise the water level, engaging the float on the pump, and you should hear the pump turn on and pump out the water. Make sure you check with a flashlight or your phone light and see that the water is actually pumping out and lowering the water table right down again. The water does not have to be completely empty of that at this point, but you want to make sure that it can and has the ability to remove the water. Most sump pumps have some type of float system on them. That is also an issue where the pump may be working but the float may not be working. So be sure to check it at least once a year, preferably in the spring before you have any type of flooding issues. If your home is in an area where you have a high water table, you might want to test more frequently. To replace the sump pump, we recommend a pump like this. This is a Liberty sump pump. It is called a submersible pump because the entire pump actually drops into the pit, into the well. It has an integral vertical float here that just moves up and down on the rod. It's compact. It fits into most sump wells, if not all of them. Very, very small. We prefer this pump model. In particular, it's very powerful. It's light but yet robust, and it has this finned area here. This is an aluminum casing, and that basically helps the pump, when it's running, dissipate heat. Even though it's in the water, a pump that's running will heat up, and that's what causes pumps to fail prematurely. So we prefer to use a pump that will simply dissipate heat faster than a cheap plastic pump that you might find at most box stores or retailers that aren't really professional plumbing companies. Most of these pumps will have a cord attached to them that is anywhere from 10 to 12 feet long. Simply plugs into your wall outlet. You can also add to these systems other great features like alarms or battery backup systems. We'll talk about that on another video, but those are systems that help you kind of peace of mind if the pump should fail or the float fail and prevent flooding in your basement. The reason why we prefer, again, a submersible sump pump that drops right into the water is the water actually helps keep the pump cool and prevents it from overheating. Your home may have, or you'll see again in some of the box stores, a cheaper version of a sump pump where it's called a column pump, where the actual motor is not in the water but it is above the well, above the ground, and there's simply a column that goes down to an impeller that pumps the water out. These pumps are very, very inexpensive. They don't last very long. Because they're above the water, the motor burns out prematurely, and really they're not worth the money. For a few dollars more, you can get a quality pump like this Liberty submersible sump pump.